Do you like basketball? Basketball. I like, but I'm not good at. Yes, I'm not.
Me too.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the State of the League podcast, the only NBA podcast that talks about every NBA team every week. If your team is still active in the postseason and if you are subscribed to the Patreon, patreon.com/State of the League, there's another 2-hour episode up every week where we talk about the conference that we don't talk about in the free episode. This week, we're breaking down the Eastern Conference, the death
There'll be a
of the
Nuggets funeral on Patreon, everybody.
Oh my god. I can't decide if it's good or bad that the Nuggets funeral is on Patreon because I'm going to bare my soul to the world in that episode. I will grieve, I'll go through all the stages, I'll cry, I'll mourn. It'll be really tough, but hopefully
well,
by
if you want ops at your funeral. The ops can't go to that one, but they could go to a free YouTube one. So do you want
that's the thing. If the ops give me $5, I don't consider them ops anymore. So like they could pull up to the Patreon and be like, haha, fuck the Nuggets. I don't care. Oh my God. So yeah, we'll be talking about the West on there tomorrow. And we're talking about the Eastern Conference today, where the New York Knicks have lost, and we are looking at the first game of Pacers Celtics as well. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the East, which is not something we've been able to say all season long. I'm Jack, aka Joestar. With me, as always, the world famous Pablo Escobar. Pablo, how you doing today? That was kind of bars by me for a little bit. That was I rattled off for a second there. How you doing?
You might have to get in there with Kendrick and Drake.
Oh shit, I'm scared. I'm not gonna do that.
Everybody, a Reed Shepherd scouting video is coming to Hotson's TV China NBA very soon. I have to redo it because nothing can ever be easy. Nothing recording a video on TikTok apparently and then saving it to your phone and trying to upload it on CapCut doesn't work. The iMovie doesn't work. Nothing works, and nothing is ever working for me. So
I don't know. I'm trying to think. The first few episodes of these of State of the League, I recorded just on my camera roll, did them in CapCut, and then uploaded it. But
iPhone camera roll is perfect. It's fine. It's just something about the TikToks. Recording it in the TikTok app means you want to film this out. You want to put this anywhere else? Screw you.
Yeah. And I definitely the thing about that like I struggle with when I do long form shit is I like my takes to be good. Like I like what I say. I have a very specific phrase in mind, and oftentimes I'll rattle something off, then a better way of saying it will come to me immediately afterwards. So I'll do like 2 or 3 takes that say the exact same thing, but the final one I like the most. With you and me, my fear of inconveniencing another person heavily outweighs any like perfectionist inside of me where I'm like, oh, this would be a better way to phrase that. I'd be like, no, I'm not editing any of this. I don't want to make Pablo wait. So yeah, that's why
That's the thing with a draft video. Like I'll pull up the film, but I have to be like, wait, what's going on in this play? Let me watch it a couple times over. And so the TikTok app makes that easy. Just press the X and go back. But yeah, with iPhone, it doesn't work like that.
I took like a video, like an intro to Photoshop type class in college, and they taught me how to like rig up a green screen. Like if you just went out and bought like a big neon green tarp, how to like edit in video behind it. I have not used it in so long. I don't even have the tarp anymore, but I'm just that was like a fun skill I had for a couple months. It was way before I really cared about making basketball content, so I didn't get to use it for anything but the projects, but it was still fun.
That'd come in handy.
Okay. We have a lobbyist request to start things off, dip our toes in the water. Henry Cates, our guy, he wants to know if you had to make a sitcom with 4 NBA players, parentheses, not named Anthony Edwards. I don't know why he's off the table here.
He did come to mind immediately.
Yeah. Who would they be, and what would the premise be? Okay, so where does your mind immediately go?
Man, well, if Anthony Edwards is off the table, is Wancho? Is he still in? Is he still in the NBA? Well, he's more of a dramatic type actor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you know what? Those Hotels.com commercials were pretty good.
Oh, okay.
Jokic and Peyton Watson were good. Jaime and Jimmy were good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking. I'm thinking. My mind immediately goes. Chris Paul
Oh,
plays a stern authority figure of some kind. This could be a principal, but I'm not sure like how he's obviously older than most of the league. So like if you brought in like a Peyton Watson and Jaime Jaquez, they could easily be students at a school where he's a principal. But I'm not sure beyond that. I like that. So Chris Paul would be my principal. Peyton Watson, Jaime Jaquez, they could be students. Jokic would be like a janitor type guy. And like I feel like he'd always be mostly slacking off at work, and then the kids would be like, I just don't know what to do. And he'd overhear he'd be like, and then perfect advice in the most pivotal moment of every episode. They go talk to the janitor and he lets them know what's what. And then Jimmy, maybe like a cool gym teacher type guy. I'm not sure.
nice. That's pretty good. I don't know if I could have something better than that. I can think of some cast members, but it's hard to come up with the premise right away. I should have prepped for this. Kobe White would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
He's a really good vibes guy. Towns would probably be a good character. He because who has acting experience? Towns does.
I guess. Well, doing what?
He was
I'm
on
going to say
Henry. He was
any.
on Henry Danger, I think.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I saw that. There was edits, a lot of cat edits after the Nuggets lost, where it would be like him in one of those post game press conferences people made fun of him for, where he like changed his voice and shit, or him in the Henry Danger clip, and then it would just cut to his highlights. And so, yeah, I was gonna say any players on the table. I'm going to assume this question suspends disbelief that they would be a competent actor, and it's more so like whose personalities like would you want to see kind of having fun on screen together.
I see. They're just in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll get back to him.
Okay. I like
I can't
Carl
think
Anthony
off the dome.
Towns. For some reason, my brain just keeps going like basketball version of the Big Bang Theory. And so I'm not exactly sure how that would work. Maybe it's like it's set like mid 2000s, and Mike D'Antoni is getting all of the analytics in real time,
Oh,
and he's like trying to convince the rest of the league that threes are the way to go. But every episode, it's like a Ed and Eddie style hijinks, a plan to get the rest of the league to shoot threes. And by the end of every episode, they're like, Mike, get out of here. Come on, man. Nobody wants to do that shit. And then they all start shooting like cool elbow jumpers and stuff.
I remember in that show they used to get takeout for dinner every single day, and I was watching it as in like middle school and like early high school, and I was like, man, that's the dream.
That's the dream. Now, yeah. Now take out
That's reality.
take out 3 days in a row for me. Me and my girlfriend, we do a lot of cooking around here. Take out 3 days in a row for me makes me feel bad. I don't love the way that makes me feel. But are you just take out every night? Like that's the move?
No, not every night. It depends what my mom's making, but pretty
Okay.
often.
What's the primo mom meal? Like you come home and you're like, I do not need takeout. Like this sounds perfect.
You know what? It's the opposite of what people say on TikTok. When the crock pot is out in my house, that's usually a good sign.
Dude, same. I have never understood the crock pot hate. And I mean, maybe this is just like the one area of the world and culture where white people really have like an insightful thing to offer. There is so much good shit that like most things that go into a crock pot. There's even that guy who had a series where he's like, I'm cutting the video off whenever they put a full block of cream cheese into the crock pot. And he would cut it off like 30 seconds into every video, obviously. Crock pot meals rock, dude. They're always so good. My favorite meal, I like a crock pot roast with like some mashed potatoes and carrots and stuff like that. That's what I used to love coming home to.
My mom makes a mean French dip.
Ooh, okay. All right. All right. So yeah, that's what our sitcom would be, Henry. And that leads us into, I'll get a calm little timestamp real quick. Into the Knicks season. It's over. It's over. What do you think about the end of the Knicks year?
Will they make a documentary about this season?
Why would they? Just because of all.
Because it's New York, and they're gonna be like, everyone was enamored by Jalen Brunson. Everyone loves him, and it's like, it was cool, but it was good for you guys. But it's a second round run.
Yeah, I think
they'll be like, if we didn't die, we would have won the championship.
Hey, I mean, looking at the way Indiana pushed Boston last night, I think maybe healthy New York could make some noise in a series like that. I think it's on the table. Yeah, I could see this season being a like an episode in a documentary, or if it's like a 2 hour long documentary and the back hour is dedicated to like the full season they won the championship, then this season would be like 15, 20, 30 minutes in the first half of the documentary being like the season they traded for OG, who eventually won finals MVP for them or something. His hamstring fell apart because he was playing 80 minutes a game. So they just had to figure out how to manage shit like that to put it all together and win the title 2 years down the line. So yeah, the Knicks lose in Game 7 to the Pacers pretty resoundingly. It was like 8 points coming out of halftime, but I think that's the closest it got for most of the game. And they had essentially run out of guys who could dribble after Jalen Brunson fractured his hand. It was a really rough end to a really rough postseason. Like, it's a cool postseason, and you could tell no Knicks fan is like disappointed by this run, but to me, it is a postseason that is defined by the injuries that they sustained. Like, that's what I'm going to think about when I think about this Knicks season. Even though Brunson playing at that level, DiVincenzo playing better than I thought he was capable of. Same with Josh Hart, same with Hartenstein. That's cool. It just sucks that they only had like 7-6 guys by the end of this.
I think my main takeaway is Brunson. I was in the Becky Hammond boat. I was like, oh, he's good.
Are you pivoting?
I don't know. I guess we have to, because prisoner of the moment, you got to say, well, this is literally Allen Iverson. But maybe it could. I guess in the future, like, oh, you know how he's gonna accept an extension, and he's gonna be like pretty underpaid relative to all the top end stars. I was thinking, I was like, you know what, Isaiah Thomas, he like fell off the map immediately. So it maybe it is a little risky for these small guards. And maybe it's just the smart move for him. He's like, hey, I don't want to miss out on the Brinks truck like he did. But
yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I was looking at that extension as well. Isaiah Thomas didn't come to mind, but like, I don't know. This is the first time I had looked at the extension, and most of the time I'm like, well, obviously you want $120 million more. I think if he signs it this summer, it's 156 mil. And then if he waits for next summer, it's 1 year longer of an extension, and it's $270 million. But yeah, if I'm Brunson, especially given how the career started and everything, like you're never expecting to see this caliber of money when you go second round draft pick or whatever. Yeah, it would be hard for me to say no to $156 million. Plus, it really helps New York with like the title contention, putting a good roster around him situation.
Yeah, so if he, I don't know. I feel optimistic about him. I feel like he may be in that like Jimmy Butler tier where he's not someone I think of as like a superstar in the regular season, but maybe he can reach that level in the postseason. Because if we go back to last season, I think he did average like an efficient 30 something against Miami. So maybe he is just a big time performer. And I do think they lose that series to Philly if Embiid is healthy, but Embiid is never healthy. So
yeah,
and then yeah, I don't know, but definitely I think you have some clarity on this roster, and I think it's a good sign going forward. And I think Randall should not be a part of it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, so right off the top, I have scripture from the Church of Ball Don't Stop here. He
Oh,
said, I keep hearing Bojan. Can Bojan put the ball on the floor and hit you with a tween combo or a hezzy pull up? No, he's another catch and shoot guy. Randall was their only true injury this postseason. That is what Ball Don't Stop.
oh.
That's how he described their postseason run. It was the only guy that mattered that got hurt for New York was Julius Randle. How do you feel about that statement?
The Bojan not mattering take is based and true. The Julius Randle take, I love it. What about OG? He doesn't care?
Yeah, I guess. Well, I quoted it. I quoted that tweet and I said, Ball Don't Stop. Would you rather have OG Anunoby or Alec Burks? And he did not respond to me, even though it got like.
He's busy.
Well, it got most of the. I think his had like 600. Mine had like 300, 400 likes. And so I was like, I know you're seeing this, pal. I know you're seeing it, but it's fine. Whatever. Yeah, I guess OG Anunoby just does not move him as an on-ball creator, which I mean he doesn't move me in that capacity either, but I like defense. I like catch and shoot guys. I think they're cool, especially if you have a guy like Brunson who's so good with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, I think fully healthy going into next year, if you're a Knicks fan, you feel good about your chances with a healthy version of this team, with Mitchell Robinson, with is Hartenstein a free agent this summer?
Yes, and I have some stuff on that.
I wonder if they'll keep it, because the deal they talked about signing him to like Vucevic money. He should probably. I'd pay him more than that.
Well, the way it works for them, and I'm dog shit at like salary cap, bird rights, all of that. I just read an article that kind of broke it down. The way
Is
this
he not
article
allowed to make more?
Yeah, they're only since they signed him to their mid-level exception, I think it is, because so he signed with Los Angeles and the Los Angeles Clippers could only pay him a certain amount of money, like their minimum. And New York had their mid-level exception open, and so he took that instead. And since they signed him to that, they can only pay him $16 million annually over the next. I think they can stretch it out to like 4 years. There's a bunch of teams that can make that cap space. Most of them already have centers. And don't need another one. Like that's not what would fix their problem. The Sixers are one of them. They obviously don't need a center. The Magic need spacing way more than they need like a Wendell Carter Jr. replacement, all that shit. The Spurs, maybe. The Thunder are like the real threat to take him though, if they are okay with a non-shooting guy. I know they're really honed in on like the 5-out offense type shit, but in terms of somebody who like beefs up their front court and helps out with the rebounding situation, Hartenstein's probably the best guy on the market, and they could pay him more than that. And the way the article broke it down, it said they'd probably pay him like 2 years because they have so many extensions coming up that they don't want to lock Hartenstein in to like 4 years and have it impact their ability to keep like Jalen Williams or Chet or someone like that. So it's really like a long contract in New York where you're not a free agent again until you're like 30 years old. Or if OKC wanted him, they could probably get him for shorter term, more money.
If you're Phil, would he go back to being on the bench, do you think? Because if I'm Philadelphia, I think I would be interested.
Maybe. The way I think he would be cool with whatever. It doesn't seem like he's a guy who's like, I need to be starting. Like when Mitchell Robinson came back and everything, it didn't seem like he was upset that he was splitting those minutes again or anything. It just doesn't strike me as like part of what he is about. It feels like Tibbs fucks with him too much for him to be really concerned with his minutes, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think he'd go back to being on the bench. I think the money is more so a thing. Maybe Philly would do it. Yeah, I liked Paul Reed, but he's so small. And if he's not having like one of those games where you're like, oh shit, Paul Reed off the bench, he's made some cool plays, he's not a very good basketball player.
And I wonder what Philly's thinking. I wonder if they're looking over at Minnesota and they're like, "Hey, too big meta. Let's get a big man to put at the 4. Let's replace Tobias with a big guy." But yeah, so wait, can the Knicks offer him more than anybody else?
No. The Knicks can only offer him $16 million, and that's less. That's like $4 million less than Vucevic. Like he should be making more than $16 million. That's what I think.
We should trade Vucevic for him, and then we should pay him $30 million.
Nice. Hell, max his ass. That's what I'm saying.
Max him. Belt to ass, max to ass.
Max to ass. Oh my god. Yeah, so that's like the big thing with the New York Knicks heading into next season is the re-signing of Isaiah Hartenstein, because it feels like he's pretty instrumental to the way they play basketball right now, especially with the inconsistent health of Mitchell Robinson. Like you could survive it if Robinson had just gotten hurt this one time and he wasn't like constantly a 50 games a year guy who's always like 7 feet tall getting foot injuries and shit. That's pretty scary. And so I feel like losing Hartenstein and a serious Mitchell Robinson injury next year, that could really throw a wrench in the Knicks style of basketball. They also have to re-sign OG Anunoby. I think that's probably more straightforward. I think they traded for him kind of like believing they could re-sign him.
Because the Raptors didn't want to pay that, and they were like, oh, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I mean, for the Raptors, it doesn't make sense. For the Knicks, I mean, yeah, he rocks. Yeah. So other than that, then my last thing for their offseason was just Brunson. The rumors of him signing an extension this year for 120 million less. So that would be good for the team's cap space. Their final injury report, I wrote everything down. It was Julius Randle, shoulder injury, did not play in Game 7. Mitchell Robinson, ankle injury, did not play in Game 7. Bojan Bogdanovic, foot injury, did not play in Game 7. OG Anunoby, hamstring injury. He played through it. Josh Hart, abdominal injury. He played through that, and then Jalen Brunson broke his hand, I think in the third quarter, and that's where the game really got out of hand for New York, obviously. And I did just want to shout out Dante DiVincenzo in Game 7. 39 points, 77% true shooting. If this was a closer game, it would be it would move me more. I'd be like, whoa, DiVincenzo, oh my God, man.
I wonder if so the dream right now that everyone's talking about is Mikal Bridges. Can they get Mikal Bridges to be the wing of the future and then slot into the roster? I think the salaries work with Randall and Bridges, but obviously they value Bridges really high. Do the Knicks have the assets to get it done? And should they overpay to get it done for team chemistry?
I mean, fuck. I don't know. Should they so like what is an overpay to you?
Well, they still have all their picks, right?
They have a ton of picks. I think they might have all of them. Yeah, I don't remember them making any. Like maybe there was a first for the Brunson trade, but they have their first this year, and they have 2025, 27, I believe, all that stuff.
What did they have 3 first-round picks this year?
From who else?
From Dallas. What? Who did they get from Dallas? Is that from the Porzingis trade?
I was just about to say, I think that's the Porzingis trade rearing its head again. That's crazy that is still like reverberating. Okay, well, good for them, I guess.
And then Detroit, which was protected 1 through 18. When they didn't get that.
That was for the Alec Burks shit, I would assume.
Oh, we forgot to talk about the Alec Burks game. It's the Alec Burks trade now. Forget Bogdanovic. It's the Alec Burks trade. He came in and didn't Ball Don't Stop said he's a hooper, right? Or something, or no?
I mean, that's why I haven't seen him say he's a hooper, but that's the exact kind of guy that I could imagine Paul don't stop being like, God, he's so fucking sick. Did you see that move? Holy shit. He's savvy, baby. So yeah, that's why I asked him about OG versus Alec Burks, because I genuinely believe he would really hesitate on that decision. But Alec Burks did play really well over the last 3-4 games of this series. When I mean the Knicks just depth decimated by injury, like they were forced at gunpoint to play Alec Burks, and he played well in that role. So good for him. Yeah.
Do you feel any different about Tibbs? This is kind of the end of the Tibbs lifespan. This is where it got to at the end with the Bulls, where people are like, he's a really good coach, but man, this kind of thing seems to keep happening every single year.
So like how many of these injuries really feel like high usage, just like run into the ground injuries to you?
How did he hurt his hand? Was it? I didn't even see
It was insanely just bad luck. It was swiping down on a layup in transition, and I think his like the side of his hand, he swung it down and he connected with maybe Halliburton's kneecap or something. In replay, even in slow motion, there was not a moment where you're like, oh shit, he just broke his hand. Like it was like, why is he going to the locker room right now? So that wasn't like, yeah, that wasn't from like exhaustion or running around or just like too much mileage. To me, the only, I guess you could maybe say that about Josh Hart's ab thing. And then definitely OG's hamstring. I think the hamstring, if you were looking for like a nail in the coffin for Tibbs, that's probably where I would point to be like, you're playing these guys too fucking much.
They played him at the beginning of this game, and he was like, he made some threes, but he looked like very visibly injured. But yeah, I guess there's not too much wear and tear. I think it was just the guys who were healthy by the end. They just were completely out of gas.
Yeah.
And he's very resistant to go to that depth. Like it took him a little while to really trust Alec Burks, right?
Yeah. I mean, he was pretty much forced to. And then yeah, I'm just curious what
And
they
do
do.
the trade for Bojan, and I don't even know Bojan. He never really got extended run for them at all, did he? I don't know if he ever got a chance to work out.
I want to look up
a
his
first
game
rounder
log
for him.
because I can't. It does not feel. I wonder what he was at. I'm gonna guess 15 minutes a game. Okay, he was at 19 minutes per game in New York, which isn't terrible.
Oh, wow.
But I mean, that's only for 30 games, and yeah, I don't know. I guess that's like a pretty normal bench rotation, but
Yeah.
I think they're when you move for a 20-point scorer, I think the monkey brain in me at least is like, oh well, that's like a huge usage guy. You're gonna run a lot of shit for that guy. But yeah, 20 points in Detroit is not quite what it used to be. Inflation has devalued that a little bit.
So yeah, it is. I guess it is a case of Tibbs being framed. It's like the crime happened, but it's like, wait a second, it's not him this time.
Yeah, Tibbs is like, I don't feel safe walking around New York because I might run into the guy who did it, the guy who wouldn't take Josh Hart out of the game. Yeah. So I guess I wonder if they get good depth next year, or if they get healthy next year, and like you're not throwing a bunch of minutes to McBride. You're not like constantly taking guys to the bench. I
want a bunch of minutes for McBride.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I feel like if they have depth next year and this happens again, and there's still 40-minute series for Hart, for Brunson, for whoever really, then you can start to look and be like, Tibbs, you can't keep doing this. Like this is self-destructive behavior. But this year, with all that stuff, like Mitchell Robinson hurting his ankle, I'm not putting that on Tibbs. That's just
he's just fragile, kind of.
Yeah. He just gets hurt, which sucks because when he plays, I always forget how big he is. Because like he misses such big extended stretches of times that I always imagine him as like taller Precious Achua build almost. And then he walks onto the floor and his shoulders are like 7 feet wide and he's like the size of a building. It's like, oh yeah, no, this is a legit big man. So yeah, I hope they put it together health wise next year because I definitely want the East to feel more potent with talent than it did this year. Because there's teams, if Milwaukee was healthy, if Philly was healthy, if New York was healthy, I would feel differently about the East and just like the general level of competition and entertainment that's gone on in this conference this year. That's not to say that the Pacers couldn't make a conference finals run still. I mean, they're a good team and everything, but if those four
Halliburton's
teams
run is just not as impressive as Trae Young's run.
Oh my God! There's that guy. There's that guy. His Twitter name's like In Snyder We Trust or something. And he is smart.
Or Zack Snyder. That's what
Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder. Not Zack Snyder's Justice League. No. Yeah, and he fucking loves Trae Young, man. And so like the entire Indiana game, he was like, this is bullshit. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Wow, you're so cool, Halliburton. Oh my God. And then the second the Pacers started fucking up, he was just on his timeline. Beating the Celtics isn't for everybody, I guess. I mean, it's just not everybody's like Trae Young. I understand, you guys.
Oh, because of the regular season?
No, didn't Trae Young, he hit a game winner against the Celtics last year in the playoffs?
I guess once. Did he beat him once?
I think they had their backs to the wall. I think they had their back. Maybe they stretched it to 6 games. I'll give him 6 games off the top of my head. But yeah, Halliburton's run. Who's he beaten? He's beaten Jalen Brunson and then the ghost of Damian Lillard. That's not. I mean, Trae Young beat All NBA, All Defender Ben Simmons. Are you serious? I mean, what's the
healthy Sixers team, right?
Yeah, 100% healthy. Ben Simmons.
Was Randall All NBA that year when they beat the Knicks?
Yeah, he was.
Oh,
there you go. All NBA player Julius Randle.
I think they were picked to win that series, if I'm remembering right. The Knicks were.
Well, I mean, it got pretty cold in the Garden in that series. You know, you better bundle up. It's icy in here.
Hey, and you didn't hear it from me, but hey, Trae Young dropped 48 that one time on the Bucks and then got injured. So who knows what happened if he didn't get that injury. But I love that Knicks fans are like they embraced Trae Young as a villain. And then they embraced Embiid as a villain as well. And they were like, we don't even like Halliburton as a villain. We just think he's lame.
I know. Yeah. There was a lot of that where like, even in yesterday's game, Halliburton, and we could just move to the Celtics after this. But in yesterday's game, he was celebrating when they were down. And he was celebrating. He like tied it up with a crazy 3, and he was like, "Yeah, woohoo!" And I was like, "Is this front running everybody?" Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff. And a tweet I saw summed it up perfectly. Where there's a lot of shit where people are like, "Oh, if Anthony Edwards did this, if Jamal Murray just like did this," and someone quoted it and was like,
"Oh yeah,
Halliburton's a fucking nerd. That's why people are mad about it." And I was like, I guess a little bit, but if Anthony Edwards was doing all that shit Halliburton was doing in the Celtics game last night, he'd get called a great leader for it. He'd get called. He's lighting a fire under his guys. That's what he's doing.
I love it. I love that he like has the Reggie Miller hoodie, but he saves it till after the game. He's like, well, just in case. And then
just in case. I don't want to be embarrassed if I wear it and then we fucking lose.
Did you see when he like did too small to Deuce McBride, but then when he turned around, he like pretended he was scratching his nose?
No, I didn't. Oh my God, that's so lame.
He was like, yeah, behind his back, and then he turned around and he's like,
oh, sorry. Yeah. Oh my God, what a dork. We have a lobby request for the Knicks, and then we can lock in on Boston, Indiana. Hear me out.
Do Randall trades too, though.
Oh yeah. Well, I have 3 here. I just have 3 guys. I'm realizing I didn't write down the trade, but I think I can remember it off the top of my head.
I've got Fanspo pulled up.
Okay, well, if you go to Julius Randle, it should be the number one trending trade. It's Randle. It's Randle, Kyle Kuzma, Tyus Jones, and Johnny Davis to the Jazz.
Team for a rock.
Randall's not a rock. He's a gem. He's not like a diamond, but he could be topaz. You know, he could be. He's pyrite. I don't know what pyrite. If you're at home, if you're watching this on the web, Google pyrite and tell me if that looks like Julius Randle in the comments down below.
Okay. All right. Oh, let's see. Am I able to flip my camera? Yes. All right.
Nice.
All right. So
we've got screen sharing.
We got Kuzma to the Knicks. We have Tyus Jones to the Kings. We have Johnny Davis to the Utah Jazz. And we have Julius Randle to the Washington Wizards. I don't understand what's happening here.
There's some picks there's picks involved. If you click, maybe scroll down.
Oh my God, there are so many people involved in this trade.
Yeah, it's I remembered off the top. It's Chris Duarte, Davion Mitchell off night, and then Sasha Vezenkov go to Washington with Julius Randle. And a couple picks too, like
a first rounder and then 2 second rounders
for Kyle Kuzma and Tyus Jones, I guess. Yeah, I think the Knicks wanting Kuzma is the most realistic part of this trade. I'm not sure how much everything else really pans out because, like, once you get 4 teams involved, it's like.
I don't know why Utah's in this. It seems are they just receiving Johnny Davis?
It's for cash considerations. I had to scroll way down on the page. When I saw it, I was like, what are the Jazz giving up? Yeah, they're giving up money to get Johnny Davis. Oh my God.
This would be a crazy trade. How much does Kuzma change your life? If you're the Knicks.
Well, if you're the Knicks, I don't know. I think he provides on-ball shot creation in a pretty different way than both Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Like, I feel like if you get Kuzma the ball, he will be able to generate you pretty solid shots in spots where Brunson is not like dominating, if that makes sense. Like, Kuzma will get to the paint, but it's not the same way where Brunson or Randle like back their guy down for 7-8 seconds getting to the hoop. Kuzma is gonna attack closeouts, be a slasher, that kind of a guy. And he's probably
does he fit with their ethos better of the high motor flying around defending and playing off Brunson?
Maybe. Okay, locked in Julius Randle, we know he can do that. So like Julius Randle, when he's hit 2 threes, holy shit, his defensive motor, it's insane. But I think like baseline level of defensive motor, I'll side with Kuzma. I like Kuzma more, so I'll give in to my bias here. But if it's Randle, I don't really care. What do you think?
If I am, I would prefer Kuzma for Randle straight up. But I do wonder if Randle still has value around the league and if you would be able to get more for him. What do you think other teams value him highly? Because who votes? I guess it's media members that are voting for All NBA, right?
Yeah.
So they still value him, but I don't know if the league really values him.
I'm curious to see how this pans out. Where I feel like there might be a pattern, and maybe it's like Sabonis now, and it was Julius Randle a couple years ago, where you just get a new guy who pops onto the scene, and he's like, I can be 20, 10, and 5 on good efficiency. And they're like, you get an All-NBA spot now. And I wonder if that will continue to permeate as the years go by. I think Randle, I don't think he's like an asset, or I don't think you'll have to give up assets to get him off your team. But I don't think he's going to demand a haul the way that like most guys who are a year or two removed from an All-NBA team are going to, just because of the way his offense, like, is he a great pick and roll big man? No, not really. Is he just like the key to having a great offense? No, not really. Is he a super high level offensive contributor without the ball in his hands? No, not really. Is he a great floor spacer? He can be, but mostly not really, I would say. So I just feel like if a team is looking to add a guy like the Thunder, for example, if they're looking to add a guy who like lifts them over into like real overwhelming championship contenders, I don't know if Randall's going to be that guy. To me, he's got more maybe expiring contract value kind of vibes in a couple of years. I'm trying to load his contract right now, but
It says
won't.
on Fanspo, 2 years, 30 million. So I
Okay,
don't know.
so
I don't know when that. I think I think he's for sure under contract. I don't know if when they restart. Oh well, no. It says Alex Burks is a unrestricted free agent. So I think he does have 2 more years.
Okay.
I wonder if does Towns' resurgence. I wonder if that gives anybody ideas about Randall, to where they're like, he's very strong. Could he be our guy on defense who holds up in the post against? Well, I guess how many guys do you need that for? Jokic and Embiid, and even Embiid's kind of a different situation because
if you ask Julius Randle to hold up in the post against Joel Embiid, he will have a mental breakdown. I genuinely believe that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so I guess maybe if you're in the West and you're like, we need to beat Jokic, is Randall physically stronger than Karl Anthony Towns?
No.
He's smaller though.
I don't think so. No. And I think the Wolves are still in a unique situation where, like, they would have had a lot more trouble if the second cat got into foul trouble, which Julius Randle would do if you asked him to fill that role. There's no doubt in my mind he would get it. Like, he'd be a foul trouble guy. They don't have, like, you're not just going to have Naz Reid off the bench for most teams. That was like a great advantage for Minnesota. The fact that like you have another guy who admitted, like, that's almost having Julius Randle. I would say he's closer to Naz Reid in terms of like stature and strength.
Yeah.
But his wingspan, I mean, the fact that Naz was blocking all those Jokic shots, that makes me think his wingspan.
I think it is a plus. I think it is like 7'1", 7'2".
Yeah. So, and it doesn't feel like that for Randall. So I guess I think he could be, like, he can contribute. I think he can exist on a good defense. I think he can give you valuable stuff offensively, but his value, I don't think it's going to like demand a bunch of first rounders or like a perennial all-star type guy. Like, if you could go Siakam for Randall straight up, how do you feel?
I would rather have Siakam.
Same. And I don't think Siakam's a guy who would demand a haul right now either.
So let's see. Is there any Heat? Is there any way the Heat would benefit from having Julius Randle? Does he play most times? Like, does he miss games? Let me see.
Randall?
Yeah.
I think he's fairly healthy. I would put him at like 65 games a year on average if I had to guess, but you should look it up.
Yeah, let's see. He's been pretty dirty. He's played at least 70 games the past 3 years.
Okay.
He played in all 82 back on his last year with the Lakers.
Oh, damn. Okay.
So I wonder if there's any world where the Heat are like, hey, we got this durable guy. Let's get him into Heat culture, see what happens. But I suppose they don't really have any. Would you do Tyler Hero for Julius Randle?
Oh God. From whose perspective? New York?
From either. I don't know.
Fuck.
Well, let's start with New York. Straight up. Do you think having Tyler Hero helps your team more than having Julius Randle? Because Julius Randle for New York is a guy who puts pressure on defenses as a scorer and makes life easier for Jalen Brunson as far as carrying the scoring load. But he compromises I think a lot of the other stuff they try and do. Tyler Hero for New York would be what? would
I
be
think like a second worst DiVincenzo or a second
is like
comparable DiVincenzo.
like at this moment, is he worse than DiVincenzo straight up? I guess so, right?
I mean, so he provides on-ball passing, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like it's something that's not why New York lost, and that's not why New York lost individual games in this postseason run either. Was their inability to pass. I felt like, especially with Hart and Hartenstein on the floor, their ball movement rocked when Jalen Brunson would swing it. Like they have very good connective passers that didn't necessarily demand a second guy on the team averaging 6 assists, which I mean Hart did for the playoff run. He was like 5 or 6 assists. So yeah, I think especially dude, he's so bad defensively. Like Tibbs, like that's a place where Tibbs legit might not play him. If you moved for Tyler Hero, if he's healthy and like he just fucks up defensively, Tibbs might just bench him.
And that is another element where he's like never healthy. So I think, yeah, probably the Knicks say no, right?
Yeah, the Knicks say no, and even if it went through, I don't know how happy Miami would be about it. Like because if you think about a paint with Bam and Julius Randle on the floor at the same time, but like one of them is in the opposite corner, I guess, or like on the opposite wing, and then the other one is trying to do like the post up into the paint, because that's cool with Bam now. Like I think that's pretty solid offense, is like a Bam post up or a Bam paint touch. But if you introduce Julius Randle to the mix, it already feels a little unstable with Brunson as a paint scorer next to Julius Randle, and Brunson's one of the best paint scorers in the league. So I think offensively it does fuck shit up for Miami a little bit, but it would be cool. Their whole thing this postseason was just like they were rolling out lineups where it was Bam and 4-6-5 guys is how it felt sometimes. Even though Jovic is pretty tall and Jimmy Butler was out there for stretches, I guess he was just out there for the play-in game. But yeah, I think Miami would like his size, but overall, I don't think either team gets markedly better.
It looks like the salaries are not going to work, but if you were able to do a Randall for Ben Simmons trade, would you do that from New York's perspective, with the idea that Ben Simmons is expiring, so his $40 million is coming off the books after next season. Randall is making 30 over the next 2 seasons. Would you do that kind of salary dump, or are you like, no, we need to? Because I'm not counting on Ben Simmons contributing to a postseason run.
Okay, I'm pulling it up right now. I'm trying to look at 2025 NBA free agents, baby. Because if you could clear a max spot, I feel like that's really, if you're maybe.
I guess Randall after this season, then he'll be an expiring. He'll be easier to deal as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I would probably just hold on to Randall if you want the expiring, rather than just like simultaneously not have any contribution from Ben Simmons and then still be looking to move him. Yeah, I would do that. It's just hard because like I feel like the path forward is to upgrade Randall into a better all-star kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know if you're going to be able to do that through a trade. Like you might just have to wait until you can open up a max free agency slot.
Yeah, I don't think you're not upgrading from him in the trade. I think it's just this, you get clarity on your play style. Like if he's around, I don't know I think in order to ensure that you play the way you did this postseason, I think he just can't be on the floor, because I don't know if he'll adapt. I think it'll just be a clashing of styles. Do you buy Julius Randle as any kind of floor raiser? Like if you're the Pistons and you're like, we just need something going on, would you be interested in him, or the Hornets?
Oh my God, Hornets, yeah. Pistons, I don't know. How much more comfortable are you being like Julius Randle save us than you are. I guess it'd be nice to have him next to Cade and have two guys like that. But
the problem with the Pistons is they already have all the young talent. They have a number 5 pick again, so they're like they can't just keep losing. They're like, man, we gotta do something. We gotta we gotta start trending upwards here, or all this tanking was for nothing.
yeah. Which it probably was anyways, baby. Jalen Duren, the next Andre Drummond. Oh, my God.
No. Jaden Ivey, he'll work out.
Jaden Ivey rocks. And Jalen Duren, buff as shit. Visually, the next Dwight Howard. Playstyle-wise, I don't know. Time will tell. He's like 20 years old. Yeah. I believe Randall could be a floor raiser. But I just... What do you get back if you're New York from Detroit? What do you want?
Let's see. What possible salaries do you get? I feel like you could probably get some kind of pick. Like what if the Pistons are like, yeah, 2028 we'll give you. We're gonna be sick by then, so you guys can have that pick. Oh, I saw people mention Isaiah Stewart as a potential like the next Aaron Gordon type guy. I don't know if that's true, but you know what, I don't know how much they even have on the books. Oh, Evan Fournier return. Evan Fournier.
Oh my God. Didn't they move for Evan Fournier so that he could be an expiring contract? Wasn't that like the whole reason Detroit got him?
Probably, I don't know. There probably is no path. I think they'll probably just run it back with Randall.
Yeah.
And I think Knicks fans like Randall, and they think like when I said Scotty Barnes was better than Randall, I got pushback on TikTok. I was surprised. I was like, really? But yeah, I guess other people are higher on him, so they'll probably just run it back.
Yeah. Yeah, the 3 trade Randall question marks I had, I put Kuzma, Donovan Mitchell, Mikal Bridges. I think New York would love any of those moves if they could make it. I don't think the way it's looking in Cleveland, they're probably siding with Donovan Mitchell and moving Darius Garland. So he's probably not even on the market. But Brooklyn's been way too protective of Bridges. I don't really think New York, unless they just absolutely gut themselves, is going to be able to get him. So, yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts. Oh, yeah, lobby request. Augusto Davos says, hear me out. The Knicks only need to do 2 things to get significantly better. Damn, I should have read this at the start because it's everything we already talked about. The first is that they need to fire Tibbs. Oh, and replace him with Frank Vogel. For Tibbs. I don't hate that. Because Vogel's so smart. He's a good defensive coach. The Suns were better defensively this year than they really had any right to be. And then the second thing they need to do is move off Julius Randle. It doesn't even matter what they would get back for him because he's such a non-factor in the playoffs that just getting rid of him raises their ceiling. And his value is actually relatively high right now because he missed the postseason and no one got to see how bad he could be. Damn, it sounds like the biggest hater shit in the world, but I don't think that's like that crazy. Like Julius Randle, he could help you a lot. And I do believe he's better than what he displayed last year. Like I think the ankle injury was pretty bad and it hampered his play style a lot. But there is the potential for a Julius Randle postseason appearance to seriously fuck up his trade value if he just like completely falls off.
Is there any? Yeah, I'm in the boat, Augusto. Maybe the Magic. They're like, we need someone who can score.
Maybe the Magic. He shot 37% from 3 a couple years ago. God, he's a stretch big. Come on, Wendell. Literally, there will be no big men in the paint because Wendell Carter Jr. and Julius Randle are combining for 40% on 9 threes a game, and the rim protectors just have to constantly close out. It's ridiculous. Yeah, all right, that's it for New York. Concrete Jungles. What Dream Tomato? 54. All right, Indiana Boston game 1. embarrassing collapse from the Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton fraud watch put him in a pack. And then a great win for Boston. As someone,
they were not happy though. They were mad that it was even close.
Well, it was embarrassing. It was not. It's like I wouldn't really be like thrilled with how the Celtics played. It's cool that they won a clutch game. It's cool that Jason Tatum nearly had 40. But like if I'm the Celtics, I'm like, oh, we should beat the brakes off this team. And it took a miracle for us to win. So it's a little scary. I said the Pacers were in great position to steal game one. They made 2 separate comebacks from down 12 points, and they were up 5 points themselves with just 2 minutes left. Careless turnovers and a miraculous corner 3-pointer from Jaylen Brown allowed Boston to send it to overtime, where they were just flat out better than Indiana. How'd you feel about this game?
It was crazy. They started off down 12-0, and I was like, okay, they're gonna get beat 150-20 or something. This is gonna be crazy. They were turning it over constantly, and the Celtics were just dunking they tried to throw a lob to Tatum. Jaylen Brown did in transition. It was funny. But yeah, then the Pacers turned it around, and yeah, I wonder if we're just we've talked about all year, like this Pacers team is weirdly they super high up in assists, and then obviously they were like the number one offense ever. I wonder if this is like an offensively historically significant team, and we just keep counting them out because we're like, I don't really see it. But I mean, they produced against they got this Celtics team into their track meet, which they don't really want to be in, I don't think, with Al Horford on the floor. But I mean, I still think Boston's going to win the series, but my predictions have been wrong on everything. I think our last episode, I said the Nuggets and the Knicks will both close out their series and win in Game 6 or whatever.
Yeah. I've been meaning we should maybe next episode because we haven't made any predictions for this one. I guess we've just looked retroactively at the Knicks. We should start like planting our flag, like official take moment. I think the Nuggets will win, and then we could circle back, and that'll help us keep an actual tally on how many of our predictions are instantly 100% wrong, because it feels like most of them over the past couple weeks. Like every time we've said something, it feels like God has instantly turned it on its head.
It's crazy. And so I'll say Celtics in 6.
Okay, I'll say Celtics in 5, baby. That's what I want. Yeah, and so no, I was rooting against the Celtics in this game, and I'll continue to root against them in this series. It's not fun for me when the Celtics win, and since the Nuggets have lost, I've decided full on hater mode. I'm just angry. This whole rest of the postseason, every single loss, it can be boiled down to like one player's fault. Somebody's fucking garbage for letting this loss happen, for letting the team lose. It was Siakam. It could be Halliburton too, a little bit. The numbers fool you, but that fourth quarter, it was pretty ugly.
What a bizarre player he is.
I know, and he's so young that it's like if he fixes some of these flaws, if he becomes a more steady shooter, just in terms of aggression, then yeah, there's a lot of room for him to grow in terms of like reliable impact on the game. But in this postseason run, it's like, dude, are we getting 30 and 10 or are we getting 7 points? I'm really confused. This game was generally good. 25 points, 10 assists, 65% true shooting. Several crazy like buzzer beaters. He hit like a pump fake up and under bank shot from the wing to end the third quarter. But then, yeah, just kind of got locked up by Holiday in the closing minutes. Like Drew really just sat into his stance and did not let him get by, and that made him really uncomfortable. So yeah, I would point to Siakam. I would point to Halliburton. I would not point to Miles Turner. He was really good. He's cool.
24 on 13 shots. Good guy.
How many? I saw this Carson from Turd Sesh. He tweeted how many scoring centers are there better than Miles Turner? I can't remember the exact list he put out. It was like 6 guys, but I didn't read the word scoring, so I was like, oh, you didn't list Bam Adebayo on your he's like stamped better than Miles Turner, and everyone was like, as a scorer, and I was like, not really, but kind of, maybe, I don't know. Depends what kind of scoring. Off ball scoring, clearly Miles Turner. He's been so good for them in this postseason.
I think Bam's a better role man, but I don't know
Yeah.
how often does he do that in Miami these days. I
Well,
mean,
how often is he playing with a guy?
They do a lot of
Halliburton
DHO,
and Bam would be cool, like a pick and roll with them.
Oh. Hey, maybe maybe the Heat blow it up for Miles Turner. That's so funny. But yeah, Miles Turner is very good. It's crazy thinking back to what trade was he offered in?
It was the
Phoenix,
Suns,
right?
I think.
Yeah, they could have got him for Ayton. That's crazy.
That is crazy to think about. Because hindsight, absolutely do that now. That's insane. I think so. If I remember the report correctly, that was like Monty Williams wanted to do it, but the Suns.
He hated DeAndre Ayton.
That's what they should make a documentary about. They should make them sit in 2 chairs across from each other.
Like Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah. I was Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas, but instead of crying and hugging, somebody fucking dies. Like one of them kills the other one. Yeah. So Miles Turner to Phoenix, obviously they regret that because Turner, I mean, he exists in a weird spot where like I don't think he's a star. I don't think anybody would call him a star, but in terms of like high impact role players, I consider him in the Aaron Gordon tier. I think if they added enough talent to this team where his role could maybe be reduced and he was just like a crazy impact, 15 points per game, while maybe getting a bit of his rim protection back a little bit. I think he has regressed a tad in the postseason. Yeah, he's cool. I also like Obi Toppin a lot. He was huge for Indiana in this game.
Him and McConnell combined for 28 points off the bench on 19 field goal attempts. It's crazy. I don't understand how this works. I don't understand how the Pacers work because it's just like you have McConnell just jittering around in there. And he doesn't do anything when he's in there except for when he does.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I don't like he's the highest rim frequency driver that doesn't get free throws and doesn't really finish. Like a lot of these attempts are like falling away, fade away, mid-range jumper, but it works.
Yeah, I would love to track. Maybe go back and watch like some of the better McConnell games in this postseason, and just like if you count the Nash dribble from the wing, takes it all the way around the paint, and then he stops like a 7-foot pull-up mid-range jumper. If you count that jump shot as a layup, I wonder what he shoots at the rim because it feels like he rarely misses that shot. Like that's the shot he's most comfortable taking on the floor, way more so than like a floater or a layup or a 3-pointer. Is just that like tricky little 7-8 foot mid-range, and he was killing it in this game. That's a great way to describe it. He doesn't do anything until he does. It's like, what is he even doing out there? Oh shit, he made an impact play right when I said that. Cool.
And there was a moment where like it was him with Holiday on him in the corner, and he just blew by him and finished. I was like, what's going on here? he's just so good. But yeah, everyone scores on this Pacers team. Halliburton only shoots jump shots. 14 of his 18 shots were 3-pointers, but he's efficient and productive doing this, and he only gets to the free throw line on a lot of these drives, and then he kicks out, and he's always looking to pass. Like I don't understand why. I don't get how it's working. Like why aren't people always say like force like Jokic into being a scorer or a passer? Like why have they not tried to force Halliburton into being a scorer? I don't know. Like, I feel like he doesn't want to score, but when he does take a bunch of shots, they all go in. But they're all these funky, bizarre threes. And I thought you had to be able to get to the rim and finish to be an actual playoff star. They're breaking the rules.
I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure. There are a lot of plays where it's just like, oh yeah, if you just leave him alone and you give him like a lane to the rim and see what happens, it feels like Indiana's offense would suffer a lot because like he is constantly just like looking around being like, oh, whose defender is on me right now? I need to Miles Turner needs this fucking basketball. And it's worked for them. It's just I think that's a testament to their depth. And they have found, I mean, not in this game, 133 points on pretty damn good efficiency from Boston, but they have found defensive stretches more so than I thought they were going to. I don't know, back when Buddy Hield was on the team or whatever.
I was thinking about that. Like, that trade is even more bizarre today because it's like you gave it up for nothing.
Yeah. I mean, is it literally just to avoid the headache of like getting a new like re-signing him?
It was just like, hey, we're not going to sign this guy. We're not going to pay this guy. Let's get a second round pick. They got like Shake Milton. Where's Shake Milton?
He's on the bench, I guess, right next to Doug McDermott, baby.
They also had a high draft pick that they're not playing. A lot of people are upset.
All right. Do you remember the last thing you were saying?
No. Was it something about Siakam? I don't even know.
Yeah, tell me about Siakam. What do you think about Siakam?
He had some bad moments. Our boy, for a friend of the program, Ben Pfeiffer, he was melting down on Twitter. He's like, I want this guy taken to the French guillotine. This guy's ruining my life. He fumbled the ball at the end, and I don't know.
The contest is what I saw blowing up on Twitter of Jalen.
Oh, they said he was digging up his butt. But
yeah, they did.
You can't foul, so it was a tough shot.
Well, the thing is, okay, it's so easy to think this way when the 3-pointer goes in, and you would never foul in that situation. Do you think Jaylen Brown makes all 3 free throws if he fouls them?
That's on Bill Simmons' podcast. He was like, no chance he makes those free throws. So I'm glad that he did it.
I haven't been locked into the BS pod. I might tune in. I think I'm going to go see Challengers tomorrow. And so I want to hear what Bill Simmons has to say about Challengers. I'm pretty excited for that. But
I didn't get to that part of the podcast, but he said like, we're going to talk Challengers and what are the worst sports movies? And I was like, what? Okay. So he's not rocking with it, but which I think was predictable, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's funny because he's so down with like, I listen to the rewatchables pretty often. He's down with like sexy movies. Like there's a movie with a lot of sex in it from like the 80s, super chill. So maybe just a woman has a lot of power in this dynamic, and he's like, I don't like this.
It is the gayest movie I've ever seen, but it's like it's like not even openly gay. Well, it's kind of open. It's weird. It's like it's gay, but they don't know they're gay. I don't know.
Whoa! it's like it's like giving or it's like getting blowies. That's not gay. It's like that kind of gay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
JFK gay.
Yeah. Gayest movie I've ever seen is probably Brokeback Mountain, but I love that movie. It's a beautiful movie. Oh my god. That was my go-to airplane movie for a long time because you could download it on Netflix and it was like the perfect length for a long flight. You could fall asleep right in the middle of it. It was nice. There's a lot of movies like one of my other go-to airplane movies, Snowpiercer. There's a lot of moments in that movie where something blows up and it's very loud. Not really those moments in Brokeback Mountain. It's a much more tender movie on sleepy ears.
It's funny. It's funny because I always hear jokes about people who are like, man, when I'm on a plane and I'm watching like Game of Thrones, like people always look over at the sex scenes or whatever, and I'm like, oh man, do they think I'm a perv? And I'm just imagining people walking by you in the aisle. It's like you're dead asleep, and there's just like a Jake Gyllenhaal sex scene with the
Well,
Heath
the thing with
Ledger one.
Brokeback Mountain, there's really only one or two like straight up bare asses in it.
Ah,
There's a
is
different
it
movie.
Jake's?
Yeah, I think
Is
it's
it good?
Jake's. Yeah, of course. Shout out Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, if there's someone I wish could be friend of the program, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. Follow me back, man. That would rock. Yeah, I think I watched a different one. It was called Sea of Love. It's from the 80s or the 90s. It follows a serial killer who uses, it's just super dated, like dating ads in the newspaper to kill people. Like that's how they choose their victims. And it follows Al Pacino as the detective hunting this person down. And so like that movie, there's like 4 super graphic sex into murder scenes. And they all open on a guy's ass thrusting. So yeah, that's if you're going on an airplane, maybe
And
don't
you're
watch.
looking for ass?
Watch Sea of
that.
Love. Yeah, if you're looking for ass. But if you're going on an airplane and you're looking for ass, I got a question. I don't know. Your mental state, I suppose. Where the fuck were we? We just talked about Siakam. So Jason Tatum. This was a pretty good game from him. How do you feel about this game?
It was, and I was just thinking about Tatum last night. I was like, I don't know how to accurately rank this guy because it just feels unfair because it feels like every missed mid-range jumper he misses feels like the worst shot in the world, and I'm like, this guy's actually trash. I hate this guy. Like when he's getting Halliburton, when they go through the trouble of getting Halliburton in a switch on the perimeter, I'm like, yes, this is epic. Punish this guy. And then you bring him down to the paint, to like the top of the paint, and you're like, yes, mid-range fade. Turn around. Pew. Oh shoot, I missed him. I'm like, what do you come on?
What do you
Jason?
do? Yeah. He takes whoever the mismatch is. Literally, I would say 3 out of 5 guys on every basketball team is a mismatch for Jason Tatum. Like he, especially with the added muscle this offseason, he is enormous. And so like he'll take Halliburton to the paint and you'll be like, oh dude, he's going right to the rim. Like this is literally a layup. Oh my God. And then he turns around and he starts backing him down and you're like, oh no. God damn it. Not this again, Jason. And yeah, when the shot falls, it's sick. It's so cool. This is like 10-foot tall Tracy McGrady with defense. Oh my God. But when it's not, yeah, it is a little frustrating. And it's weird because he like it feels like he exists in his own unique space in terms of like the best players in the NBA, where I feel like this season he has been a step below, much less like Jokic, even Luka, Shea. I think Giannis was better than him this season. I feel like he has been
In-season tournament, LeBron was better.
Yeah, I mean, in-season tournament champions. They literally won it all. So I think he has been a step below them, but then simultaneously, I think he's still been among like very soundly the 7 to 12 range. And when I add in all of the shit about like, oh, he is adjusting to this insanely talented roster and like his offense is probably going to suffer because of that, you would hope the efficiency would go up. That really hasn't bore out, but so he's adjusting to that. He's still impacting the game a lot through his defense and his rebounding, especially. There was a lot of rebounds down the stretch of this game that it felt like were huge for Tatum. And the fact that this is his 4th conference finals in like 5 years, you feel like that has to count for something once you get to like the 11, 12, whatever range, or even the back end of the top 10, nobody has the level of playoff pedigree and playoff success that he has. And for the most part, he's been really good in the postseason. Like this is the first postseason where we haven't seen him routinely dropping 30, 35, taking over the games through hot hand scoring. It's been like a much more understated impact from him, even though I still think he's been really good in these playoffs.
Yeah, he's a very good good player, but hard to place player. He scored 10 in overtime, and that was the most since 2021 in the
Yeah.
playoffs in overtime.
But in the fourth, he was 2 of 7, and I'm not gonna say, oh, Jaylen Brown saved the season or anything, saved the game, but yeah, he was great in overtime, and he was really bad in the fourth quarter, and it like that feels almost like a distillation of where I'm at with Tatum, where in previous years I've been like he's really inconsistent on a game to game basis, and now it's almost like possession to possession he's inconsistent.
He's like a better Karis LeVert.
He's a great character. That feels fucked up to call him Karis LeVert. He's so good, but I guess yeah.
He's the Kobe Bryant of Karis LeVerts. The Celtics bench is a concern. Like for a team that's so talented, who do they have off the bench right now? Sam Hauser, Peyton Pritchard, and then there's one other guy.
Luke Cornett.
Luke Cornett, the all-white bench. That's so dangerous.
Oh my god. I'll save that for the Patreon. Maybe I won't say that word on YouTube, but
the C word?
Yeah, the C word. The all
we can say it.
We can say it. The all cool guy bench. There we go. Yeah. Cornette, like if healthy rotation, because I think why was Tillman out this game? Do you know?
Is he just not playing? Where Tillman and Keita are they just the coach doesn't trust him, or is there an injury?
No, I looked before the game, and it said he was out for personal reasons, but I didn't look into it any further. I meant to before.
Has he been playing? I don't know how much he has been playing at all. I wasn't locked into their rotations for the Cavs.
I figured maybe he hasn't been, because I have been seeing a lot. Like this is the first time my brain is saying, hey, every time you're seeing Luke Cornett, that could be Xavier Tillman minutes. I hadn't been thinking that this entire time, so I was just like, oh, hey, Luke Cornett minutes. That's interesting. So yeah, there's not really any updates on the personal reasons why he was out last night, but I feel maybe that plays a role in this lack of depth, because Porzingis, if he was healthy,
okay, he was playing a little bit. It looks like he played 11 minutes versus Cleveland, 7 minutes, 6 minutes, 13 minutes. So he's playing very sparingly.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I wonder how much of that is even just like they thought they were going to face Jokic in the finals. And so, well, you're facing Minnesota, so having a big guy, an extra big guy, is definitely not the end of the world. But yeah, I guess I don't know. I like Luke Cornett, but yeah, their bench, they don't really have a deep rotation, especially, God forbid, Al Horford's old ass gets hurt. Or Drew Holiday's been pretty durable in the playoffs. He's just been kind of a hit or miss regular season guy, if I remember correctly.
Oh wait, I was misreading the game log. So he has only played in 3 playoff games during this run.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, well maybe they just straight up. Maybe Luke Cornett is just straight up better. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility. Xavier Tillman is not that good. He's fine.
He's a good passer.
He's a good defender. He's bad at everything else you want your big man to be able to do.
Oh, yeah, he was like the worst scoring big in the league. He was like 40% at the rim or something crazy.
Yeah, it's like if Gobert's hands got grafted onto like a Julius Randle type build. So like you don't even have the insane like lob radius where you like maybe he'll catch it up there. It's just like, no, it's going to take a miracle for this guy to get a layup or a dunk.
It's just the nerves are disconnected over here.
Oh, damn, I need to catch up on Sakamoto days. That's what I tried to grind through it, but I stopped the other day. There's been a big moment in the manga where apparently some guy, freaking spoiler alert for Sakamoto days if you're not caught up, apparently somebody cuts their arm off, but they do it so clean that the cells are still alive and they could just take their arm
Oh, I think I saw that on
Just
Twitter.
put it right back on. So I guess that seems pretty cool. We're gonna get
Did you ever see in I think it's One Punch Man where the guy cuts the apple and they're like the apple didn't even know it's been cut.
Yeah, I did see that. Shout out to was that King? The guy who gets
Yeah.
all the credit for shout out to him. That's funny. Yeah, so Xavier Tillman out of the rotation, probably. I don't know, not that big of a deal. We're not the most well versed Celtics guys on this podcast, believe it or not.
When's the Zinger gonna be back? Has there been any update?
Oh yeah. They're likely for Game 4 is the aim. So that would be bigger if Indiana had won Game 1, but the fact that they didn't. It feels like they could put up a fight. I disrespected them. I didn't think they had like that kind of game in them. And again, maybe that's us with the offense just constantly being like, oh, this is an outlier game. This isn't what they're really like. Oh my God. But I don't know. At the same time, the Celtics scored 133 points and they went 15 of 45 from 3. So they didn't even play like their maxed out offensive level and they still did this. It's just tough, especially if they get to the point where Porzingis is back. It's tough to see this matchup favoring Indiana.
Where do the Pacers rank out in terms of turnovers in the regular season? Do you remember?
No, not off the top of my head. Let me see.
They had 22 turnovers in this game to Boston's 15. They gave up 32 points, I think, off turnovers, and Boston scored they gave up 32 and Boston only gave up 21. So that was one of the big differences. They were pretty equal in terms of like rebounding in 3-pointers made during this game. And then the Pacers had 8 more assists, which I think is just a result of that ball movement and that pace. Man, that pace must be that powerful. It's crazy.
And you forgot the refs clearly wanted Boston to win. 30 free throws to 10. Are you kidding me? 3 times as many. The Pacers were 21st in turnovers this year. I don't have.
So maybe they'll cut that down over, and maybe they get some dubs.
Yeah, it's possible. They averaged 13. So this was well over their season average.
Who do they have that gets free throws? Does Siakam get free throws?
No, Siakam's the only guy on the roster who even gets into position to get free throws, and even then, he is like the most.
He's like Turner. He's like Jason Tatum. He's like turnaround.
Turnaround. Well, even that, like spin off contact, anything to avoid. Like a situation that would get him to the free throw line. And maybe that's just a honest hooper in him. He's trying to get to a spot where he can make the shot and he's not trying to have the refs bail him out with some soft BS. But yeah. See, it's just
Mathurin, now that I think about it, is probably the best one, but he's out.
Yeah, probably. I mean, he was so bad defensively when he was playing.
He's kind of a basketball terrorist.
A little bit. He's cool. He talked shit to Jaden Ivey in the Rising Stars game, which happened the same weekend as no, that didn't happen the same weekend as the in-season tournament. I guess not, because I was gonna say everything that happened that weekend, the most impactful thing in sports, but that was just normal All-Star weekend shit. So it doesn't matter at all. That's my fault.
Well, so what was canon from the in-season tournament? The Pacers being good.
Zion,
Halliburton being the best player of the league was not canon, but he's good. Zion being fat loser, not canon.
Canon. Filler. He got locked in like a pantry and he had to eat his way out. And that was his arc for the in-season tournament.
That was filler. The Lakers being good, I think that was canon. I think they just lost to a good Denver team who lost to a good Minnesota team.
I mean, I think the Lakers are good in the sense that if there are 2 spots and I can call a team good or bad, the Lakers would be good. I wouldn't necessarily qualify them as like close to title contention. I think they're a ways out from that, but maybe that's just the hater in me. Who's to say? They won the in-season tournament.
Pacers.
Yeah, they are. Just because like that's I don't know. That's how much I respect star power in this league is if you're like, we have 2 good players, they're hurt all the time, or they have been historically, they weren't this year. And Indiana's like, well, we have 10 pretty good players. Like,
Well,
not
that is how the league worked for the 2010s and like beyond that. Like the teams that had superstars won, and the teams that didn't did not. So now the league is more talented to where you can have you still need a superstar, but you can have better depth around you. But yeah, I was thinking about it because I got in my first ever little Twitter squabble with some people.
I saw. Hey, congratulations! Good for you. That's that's a scars on a poster's back, on a poster's fingers. That's a mark of shame. So way to go out on your sword.
I will not be doing that anymore because they are the people on Twitter. It's a level of understanding that I don't want to be around. It's a lot of untrained eyes, as Eric Spoelstra would say.
Buddy, you're talking to the guy who said Jalen Williams is better than LaMarcus Aldridge a couple weeks ago.
I mean, regular season, that's not that great.
Well, that's oh my god, dude! And you want to talk about takes that were made and then immediately 100% wrong? I made that while Jalen Williams was going like 2 of 16 from the field, and I just immediately. That's what you got to do. Make your take, mute it immediately, and whatever happens, happens. You're not responsible for that anymore.
Well, so I said that every team in the West right now that made the playoffs, except for the Zionless Pelicans, is probably better than any team LeBron played in the East during his finals run. And then people are like, they're like, you obviously didn't see the 15-16 Hawks. You obviously don't know about Prime Lowry and DeRozan. I'm like, are these people who didn't watch this?
Do you know about Prime Lowry and DeRozan? You saying this right now? Because that is not how people were talking back then. Prime Lowry and DeRozan should have been kicked off the face of the earth. That's how NBA fans were talking while this shit was happening.
They were literally called the Trash Bros. Because and someone posted, the NBA University or whatever posted like the playoff scoring graph of like all-time best and all-time worst playoff scores, and DeRozan is the worst. He's the worst playoff scorer by volume and like relative.
He's bottom left.
Yeah, he's really bad. And like, yeah, I don't know how people have retroactively. I guess I think it all stems from LeBron. Like people are this, and I didn't even fire that one off to be like LeBron is a fraud. This hurts his GOAT case or whatever. I do not care. I think just in pure ability, he's arguably the best player ever. If you have him number 1, that's fine with me.
You're glazing Michael Jordan. He's clearly, there's no competition. Oh my God, Chicago Bulls fan here, everybody. You can't let go of the past. Wow.
I do not care that he lost those finals. He was supposed to lose most of those finals. The only bad one was Dallas, where he underperformed. I don't care if you lose the finals if you perform well. It wasn't your fault.
Hell yeah.
The idea that like, man, no one could get past him in the East. He was just too good, which he was, but like there was never anything. It
was kind of like
there was never anything close to competition.
Like an all-might Endeavor situation.
Oh yeah.
And maybe Paul George could be a good Endeavor. He cheated on his wife and stuff, or his girlfriend, so maybe he could have a little homely redemption arc as well. And it's just like LeBron, every team LeBron was on, and LeBron was the best player on the planet by a comfortable margin for most of that run.
And he was, in addition to that, he was the only superstar in the East, I think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And the fact like that, I feel like it's really telling when I saw the tweet, I quoted it, and I got some pushback on it as well for like going at that Hawks team. I was like, dude, if I say list me the best teams you've played in the past 5 years, and you're like, number 1, the 60-win Atlanta Hawks with 4 All-Stars, I'm like, immediately that is a red flag about like the talent level that's going on here. That is not. That was. I mean, they were a fine team, but it's pretty clearly. It's not. It's almost like this. Reminds me of the Pacers on steroids. Just
But they didn't even have a Halliburton or a Siakam.
They had Joe Johnson and just like
Al Horford's probably the best, and Al Horford wasn't even shooting threes yet.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. Well, Joe Johnson wasn't even on that team.
Shout out to Kyle Korver though. Shout out to Kyle Korver.
Shout out Jeff Teague.
Oh, Jeff Teague. Yeah. So it was Teague, Korver, Horford. Who was the fourth All-Star?
Millsap.
Oh, Paul Millsap, Nuggets legend. Oh my, I don't know how I forgot him, dude. That guy, I mean, you want to like if you want to talk about Ben Pfeiffer going off on Siakam last night, I somewhat like the way I used to talk about Paul Millsap in a Denver Nuggets jersey circa the bubble, you would get me arrested. Oh my god, he was insane. But yeah, shout out to him. In retrospect, he's very much in the Will Barton category, where in the moment, towards the end, horrible experience. Looking back on it, thanks for playing. You know, it was fun. We got some good memories.
And then that Hawks team, when it was happening, nobody thought they were a contender. Golden State was happening at the same time. We all looked over there and we were like, that's a real contender. These guys are not a real contender. And then they lost and we were like, this is not surprising because we knew they were not a real contender. And their best LeBron defender got his leg broken by police. So it's not even like
shout out Cephalosha, baby.
Yeah. And Pero Antic, was he like caught up in that too? He was like their stretch big or whatever. But they didn't have a prayer anyway.
I remember when it's very good. Looking back on it, I remember vividly in the moment when the Hawks lost. Nobody was surprised. That was normal. When the Raptors lost in 2018, that's what was surprising. Like that was a series where you're like, whoa, shit, they're not going to win a game. Like they're just getting fucking nuked. Kevin
with DeRozan and Lowry.
Yeah, the final DeRozan Lowry. When it was like when LeBron 2018 LeBron. You remember that?
I remember 2018 LeBron. I wasn't surprised. I'll tell you that much. I never believed in that Raptor, in any version of that Raptors team.
I always felt bad. I would go to war for Kyle Lowry. I would be like, Lowry's not the playoff dropper here. You guys, his number one's just dropping off, and then his role is expanding to a level that he's not qualified for. I don't think that's his fault, you guys. And I mean, it's not like I've ever been vindicated on that take. He's been fine in like fucking. Where did he go after? Well, he was in Toronto through the bubble.
He stayed with Kawhi and then won a championship. And then did he go straight to Philly? No, he went to Miami.
Yeah. Okay, I'll call myself vindicated for that. He was pretty solid in the championship run. He did his job and everything. He was no Fred VanVleet, but he was all right.
He was, and so if DeRozan is dropping to being like one of the worst scorers ever, and he's not a good defender either, and he doesn't shoot threes, and you're left with Kyle Lowry as your best player, that's like peak Mike Conley being your best player, and it's like imagine like a peak Mike Conley versus peak LeBron duel. It's like, of course, who do you think is going to win that? And so, like, and people are saying, like, I understand these people are not serious, which is why I need to stay off Twitter, because I need to not acknowledge, because people are
You're too genuine, man.
People are like, peak Derrick Rose is twice the player Anthony Edwards is. And I'm like, guys, my entire life revolved around that Bulls team. That was one of the greatest things to ever happen to me. Derrick Rose was not as good as Anthony Edwards. And that Bulls team started Keith Bogans. And they shut down Derrick Rose by just saying, we're going to pack the paint, pass to anyone else. Pass to Keith Bogans, he won't make a jumper. Pass to Carlos Boozer, he's not going to do anything. Pass to Joakim Noah in the half court, what's he going to do? Go to anyone else, you can't, because they can't score at all. So, yeah, we're going to beat you 4-1. And the Bulls are like, no, let us get out in transition. It's like, no.
Then you'll see. Then you'll see. When we get when Lonzo's back, it's the same mindset. It's permeated the entire franchise, the fan base, everything. It's just once we get where we need to be, nobody can stop us. Oh my God.
And they're like, the only reason we don't see these guys, the only reason we think this is weak competition is because LeBron was in front of them. Guys,
that is not true.
We still see Clyde Drexler as an all-time great. We still see Karl Malone as a pedophile all-time great. We still see Charles Barkley, even Gary Payton and Sean Kemp are like Hall of Fame level players. Like DeRozan and Lowry, I don't think there's and people are like, man, LeBron they were never going to beat LeBron, and they were never going to beat the Golden State Warriors, the prime Warriors. So yeah, they weren't contenders. And I'm like, what team would they ever beat in the finals? What team is ever coming out of the West that Raptors team could beat? They wouldn't beat OKC. They wouldn't beat the Spurs. They wouldn't beat Old Man Dirk. I think they were just a team that was really productive in the regular season. And then like the only team I said is like the PG Pacers, I think, are probably the best competition. If they played this year's Phoenix Suns in a series, who would you pick?
I'll play the opposite side from you. I'll pick the Pacers.
See, that's not crazy. That's okay, but I don't think people would feel that way if they saw Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and even like the Suns' bad role players today. Like who was off the bench for those Pacers teams? Like washed CJ Miles or something?
Lance Stevenson, or did Stevenson start?
He was a starter.
He rocked. He was so sick. But yeah, I get what you mean. Depth, and that's part of the whole movement for expansion a little bit, is that like the depth and like going back to what we mentioned earlier about how you can have fewer stars and more role players, and that can be a path forward to contention. It's because the role players are so fucking good now. Like there are so many impactful role players.
It's so different in just 10 years. There's so many different guys.
I wonder why that is. I'm not smart enough to answer it off the top of my head, but it's fun to think about, and that's what this podcast is about, baby.
We're thinking basketball.
Yeah, that should be our tagline. State of the League podcast. We are thinking basketball here, or something like that.
And then the Thinking Basketball podcast, they can say we are talking about the state of the league.
Yeah, that's a fair trade for me. I'm Thinking Basketball, hit me up. Hell yeah. All right, I got a quick list. I said good things for Indiana in this game. It was Miles Turner in the first half. It was pretty aggressive scoring from Halliburton, and then it was Porzingis being out for 2 more games. And that was dude. I'm not going to say they'll get swept because they did put up such a great fight in this game, but simultaneously, emotionally, this is the kind of loss that could lead to a sweep. That's what it feels like to me, where it's just like, oh, that was our shot, and now Boston's just going to fucking stomp us.
That it's like the Bill Simmons that now they have to win 5 games.
Shit. That's actually he's hit or miss. But I follow. There's a Twitter account called the Bill Simmons podcast.
They are crazy.
I know that's too much.
Social guy in the world. He hates Bill Simmons so much, like to his core.
Just like an insane person to structure your online personality around. Like Bill Simmons, he's not worth that much effort, but
he's not supposed to be taken seriously.
They have a great line though where they're like, sometimes he just cranks the fucking fastball 90 right down the middle and it still hits. And that's how I felt. That's how I felt about the they have to win 5 games now take. Like that's a great bar.
Yeah, it is a good one. I think he brought up on his latest podcast with Rosillo, he brought up Chris Finch, the coaching injury again. He's like, I can't believe they overcame it. And he brought up Team USA again. Rosillo was like, you're the most patriotic guy I know.
Hell yeah. Dude, we should do for one of these episodes, I don't know if it's legal. We should just do a joint listen through of a Bill Simmons pod episode.
I think we could do it on Patreon.
Okay, we should do that, and we should craft our own bingo cards so that like
that'd be good.
Yeah, and like if he hits whatever a nephew Kyle reference or something, then you get to stamp your card. That would rock.
But see, we would come from a place of love. I think that that guy comes from a place of hate and like deep hatred.
Well, like I don't know. He's just like, Bill Simmons changed his opinion. I fucking hate this guy. Are you serious? And it's like
after every Anthony Edwards game, he tweets out like him saying James Wiseman is better in the 2021 draft, and he's like, this fucking idiot.
This fucking moron.
He thinks that Anthony Edwards is good now. He wasn't saying this fucking 4 years ago. Fucking idiot.
Back when Anthony Edwards was doing press tours, being like, basketball, football is the sport for me. That's the one I'm really good at. Back in those days. All right. Do you have any closing thoughts on Boston, Indiana game 1?
No. All I'll say is the Celtics court is a good playoff court. It feels good watching important games on there.
Oh, there's somebody in this room who hates the Boston Celtics court.
The parquet floor?
I've tried to explain the historic significance of the. Have you ever listened to the band Parquet Courts?
No, never heard of it.
They're great. You should check them out. It's a phenomenal band. But I've tried to explain the historical significance of the Garden and the courts and everything. She's not hearing it. They're ugly. They're Boston's court. Thumbs down from across the room. That's our reaction. So I love our park. We have parquet floors in our apartment. Sick as shit.
It's like you're playing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get the basketball. I have a knee injury, so it's like I'm courtside. It's like I'm on.
What is your diagnosis? Do we have an update?
I just got the MRI yesterday, and so I need to schedule a visit with an orthopedic person to have them look at the MRI, and then I should be able to figure it out. I'm walking around okay in the apartment, but I still need the crutch for like long distance moves. I'm starting to get
the parquet floors are easy on the knee.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's Boston. That's Boston, Indiana. I'll drop a little timestamp. I got an email. I love smoking cigarettes 34 just commented on our Patreon. You want to go check it out?
Okay.
Let me look this shit up real quick.
If the Pacers win, is Halliburton better than Nash?
Oh my God, Steve Nash! I saw something. It was somebody, one of the ESPN people put out a list of like top 5 runs by small guards ever.
Oh yeah, he wasn't on there.
Yeah, Nash didn't make it. Oh, of course it was. That makes sense.
It was Brunson number 1.
He was. I love smoking cigarettes 34 just commented, So
It's true, we do know.
That rocks. I went on Pick a Side podcast live after game 6 of Denver, Minnesota.
Ooh, was it intimidating? Live?
It was for like a second. It was way more intimidating. I went on Toronto Sports Radio again. That's way more intimidating because I know Pick a Side, I can curse first of all if something slips out.
Yeah.
And second, like I know, like they're bringing me in specifically for my brand of like brain rot. Like it doesn't need some moron driving his fucking truck around isn't going to be like, who the hell's this guy? What am I listening to? But they had somebody in their chat named Booty Liquor 2000 who they all kind of recognized.
That's Booty Liquor 2000.
Yeah, they were like, oh, and so I was like, dude, that's our I Love Smoking Cigarettes 34. That's our Booty Liquor 2000. I think the cigarettes angle is way cooler. Booty Liquor, that's a little played out by this point.
Because that guy's not actually living the life. Like, we know he's probably not. Like, it's probably a joke. He's probably not licking butts or getting his butt licked. But this guy's he's probably hitting the packs.
Dude, shout out to that guy. Shout out to I Love Smoking Cigarettes 40. Oh, it's 43. My fucking dumbass. God damn it.
And then I bet Booty Liquor, there's a chance he's not even actually into watching it. Like, if on their podcast they started getting licked, I don't even know if he for sure would be into it. He probably be, no, guys, I was joking.
I'm turning it off.
If we started smoking a bunch of cigarettes on here, that guy would be into it.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Yes, this is what I've been waiting.
If we ever do the cigarette episode, I'll get him on a Skype call. I'll track his email down, and he can come on, and he can rip a dart with us, as the kids are wont to say. All right. Time fillers. Gabriel Esparza. So this is lobbyist request. This is the filler arc of the episode. Gabriel Esparza wants to know, I saw Jokic Joestar is on the path of the One Piece. I always figured it was the path to the One Piece, but whatever. Which players in the NBA would he take along to find the One Piece? At least starting 5. And then who do you think would side with the world government? Okay, so I got a starting 5 here. So for my captain, point guard, I went Mike Conley. He seems like a guy. There's not a ton of star power on this list. I didn't go for like extremely powerful allies type situation. I went for more people who I believe could fill out good roles on the ship. So Mike Conley, captain.
So I don't know if you're making it to the new world, but I'll hear.
Oh fuck. Well, so my super. Who would you pick? Am I just putting Steph at point guard? Is this just like the most?
The captain's got to be OP.
Okay. All right. Well, then fuck Mike Conley.
And then the rest of the crew is to fill out the duties, but also you got to have a strong crew to compete at the highest level.
All right. So for captain, I guess I'll go LeBron at point guard. If I need him to be OP, LeBron could be my point guard. I just think he'd be annoying to hang out on a ship with for a long time. And Mike Conley, I know, would be chill. And like if there was an argument, Mike Conley could get it to simmer down, no problem. LeBron, I don't know if I have faith in that. But if I'm looking for power, I guess. I'm definitely making it to the new world. I need that. So yeah, I'll go LeBron. Shooting guard. Now originally, I said Oladipo because he's a great singer and he could entertain us with music and stuff. But I don't. If I'm going pure power, maybe. I don't know. I feel like Paul George would fold in a pivotal story moment. I guess Anthony Edwards is kind of hot right now. But if this was all time, I'd have to reevaluate. Maybe I'd go like Dwayne Wade all time. That'd be kind of sick. I'll go Anthony Edwards for pure power. But Oladipo,
I do wonder if he would. Would he be a good crewmate, or would he be like, no, I got to start my own crew? He's kind of like Luffy.
He is captain pilled. Yeah.
Dwayne Wade could be a first mate if you go historical.
Between the Shaq and the LeBron runs, and then like Shaq regressed a little bit, and Wade was like, I can step up, and like you handle the Pistons. Get me in front of the Mavs. I'll tear them apart. And so that was good teamwork by Dwayne Wade. Small forward. Oh, okay. So I said Paul George for small forward because he loves fishing and he seems super chill. So like him off the side of the boat in the ocean. And that seems I'm cool with the power level I'm getting from Paul George. That's small forward.
Yeah, he's
power
like Sanji level.
Yeah, power forward. If this is prime, to be honest, I'm low-key still down with the power level. I said Serge Ibaka because I want him to be my chef as well. That's where my brain went. No, Sussy Ibaka, Serge Ibaka. And then for center, the muscle, I said Steven Adams, but maybe I would go.
And he looks like Aquaman.
Yeah, but maybe. Fuck it. I'll go with my heart. I want Jokic as my center. I just know he would be unhappy cooped up on a boat. Like there's no horses. He seems like a guy who really fucks with like an expansive field of grass and stuff. And he just doesn't he's not going to have access to that all the time on the high seas. But I think his yearning for adventure, it seems pretty high. His whimsy's definitely high. He's whimsical as shit, and he's powerful. So I'll take Jokic at center.
All right.
All right. Do you have any just like a player you would want on your ship off the top of your head?
Caruso. I think Caruso could beat Killer in a fight.
Oh, cool. I haven't touched Killer yet. I've seen him, but I don't know anything about him. To be honest, he doesn't look like most One Piece characters that are really powerful. They look cool. They look super cool. It's similar to JoJo's like where could this stand user be hiding situation where like they pan across a crowd and it's like, oh shit, I don't know who this is, but everybody in One Piece, they either look insane, super silly, or they're like Mihawk pilled where they're just all sharp angles and cool colors and shit. So Killer, he just looks a little underwhelming right now. But if he's like that, then yeah, I don't know. Maybe Caruso could beat him in a fight.
All defensive team. Shout out.
Yeah, I mean, we could touch on that tomorrow, maybe. Yeah. I like how it was all big men on first team. That made me happy. Uniton. This guy rocks. I'm happy about this. I'm happy he commented. We have a German lobbyist now. His name is like Uniton. He didn't put his last name on here, so I won't say it out there. But he wants to know what our favorite Star Wars movie is. I'm curious how you feel about Star Wars because I put a Star Wars take into the ether online a couple days ago.
What was it?
It was the anniversary of Empire Strikes Back, like 50th anniversary or whatever, and I quoted the tweet and I was like, every just okay movie franchise got that one movie I really fuck with. And my favorite, Empire Strikes Back, is my favorite Star Wars movie.
So I've seen them all, but I've seen them all multiple times, but I don't remember them that well. But I like Star Wars. I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy. It's one of those things where I think the world is cooler than what we got. And I think like Harry Potter's kind of like that too.
Yeah. I was talking about this with my girlfriend at lunch. I said the further you get away from the primary plot of the Star Wars movies, the more fun the stories you're getting told become. Like it just like every time you branch off, like Rogue One. I like the vibes.
That was good. Halo reached the movie. That's what it basically was.
Yeah. Like I like the vibes of Empire Strikes Back. I like Cloud City. I like Lando Calrissian. It's very cool. I fuck with all that. But I like Rogue One. The story moves me more because I don't know. It just everything feels a lot more tangible, a lot more impactful than in the original story has kind of ascended beyond like, I don't know, a normal movie into now it's this thing ingrained in the cultural pantheon.
Have you seen the Disney Plus? They have there's a show. It's kind of like an anthology type show. I think I'm using that word right. Where it's like each episode is a different little story.
That is an anthology. Yes.
Yeah, and they have like some anime ones.
I saw the first one. I saw the black and white one with the sword.
Really good. Yeah, and there's one where like these two Jedi land on this planet, and there's like this really scary old evil man. And it's like super duper tense and everything. And like, yeah, Star Wars at its best, I think the universe is great. But the main movies, I think I am a prequels guy.
I have respect for the prequels. Like most of these movies, I'm like, this is fine. Like I can have fun watching it. Yeah. Revenge of the Sith, the peaks blow me away. Like that is
Order
a cool
66
movie.
Is crazy.
That's insane. The magma planet fight, was it Mustafar? Mm-hmm. God, I'm a fucking beast. Oh my god. That's from Lego Star Wars. That's why I know all that. Did you ever play those games?
I did at my friend's house. I also played the regular Episode 3 video game. It was really good. I had a lot of trouble beating General Grievous.
General Grievous, that's a sick character. Some of the villains that we get in Star Wars, I think, are so dope too. There are a lot of cool villains, cool like almost the definitive cool character design like thing in pop culture. Like there's so much sick character and world building design that's gone into Star Wars, but
and the bad stuff is charming in the prequels. Like when Anakin goes, from my perspective, the Jedi are evil. It's so good.
hell yeah! Shout out to the inner anime monologue of like, I think the Jedi are bad.
It's just such a such an explicit way to be a bad guy. Like, you're on the wrong side. No, from my perspective, I'm on the right side.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the new ones, I thought the first new one was really cool, and then they kind of like it was just they had no direction going on. It was like
Yeah.
were they all made by different guys or
So for the new Star Wars,
the first one's Gracie Abrams' dad.
Was it J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson?
Oh no.
Was it Ryan Johnson, J.J.?
No.
What was it?
It was J.J. Abrams, Ryan Johnson, J.J. Abrams.
Whoa. Okay,
he
so
made the last one. The last one really sucked.
yeah, so J.J. Abrams made the first and the last one, and then Ryan Johnson made the middle one. So that probably contributes to the lack of direction in the story a little bit. That's a tough way to build a franchise out. I'll give him that.
And the first one was just a remake of one of the originals.
Freaked out and complained
That's tough. I'm
because
sorry.
a girl was in it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, the fan base does famously hate women, so I guess they got too prominent of a role in this one. I remember in the new ones I didn't like how. Oh, I guess maybe I haven't seen them all. But I remember I didn't fuck with the arc of John Boyega's Stormtrooper guy. Like I thought that was a cool concept. Is to be like, yeah, he's gonna lead a rebellion from within or whatever, and then it just didn't pan. It was just kind of like a flat arc, and that was it's not cool. All right, do you have any fun parting Star Wars thoughts?
That scene at the end of Rogue One where Darth Vader's invading, that's a good one.
Oh, that is sick.
The scary alarm sound going on.
Yeah. Everybody go watch Alien if you like scary stuff happening in space. It's like that. It's like that scene, but Darth Vader, he's not even cold and calculated. He's beyond reason. He's a force of nature. Scotty Barnes wants to know. Oh shit! I guess we didn't answer this well enough last time. I am begging, please, Mr. Pablo, explain the Wemby Dark Matter TikTok you made. I've been perplexed by it for several days, and it's seriously impeding my ability to live a normal life.
I explained it. He didn't listen.
All right.
I wanted to post the Dark Matter clip because I thought maybe it could get views and I could get money off that. But it wasn't long enough to be a minute. So then I stretched it out by doing the whoever moves is gay. And I said it in Spanish because that's from the
I forgot
TikTok
about this.
account. Yeah, that's from the TikTok account, the guy who says whoever moves is gay. And so that's what I said. And so I did it to stretch time.
Okay. All right. So yeah, Scotty Barnes, listen up, pal. I know this is you in Toronto. It was a bit to pad it out for money. That's literally, I'd say 25% of what we do on TikTok. I had a good one. I was proud of it. Have you seen The Sopranos?
No.
Well, shit. I can't explain the bit to you then. Never mind.
Epic.
Because you should watch it. Everyone who has seen The Sopranos, listening, a little inside joke. I played "Don't Stop Believin'" at the end. I cut to a black.
Oh,
screen.
I know about that though.
So yeah, that was my thing. I was like, Boeing's gonna, and then I just cut to black, and I started playing that song. And
are they really being that explicit? Are they really killing these people?
Another one died. I mean, shit.
I feel like it's too out in the open to the point where I'm like, are they being framed?
Are they being framed? Are they doing something else, like actively, something way worse? And they're like, everyone, look over here. We're definitely killing these people. Oh my god. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's all coincidence. Maybe they just encourage work practices that develop depression in people, and that's just kind of spiraled into into every instrumental witness in the case killing themselves. Could be. I don't know.
Boycott Boeing. Don't go on vacation, guys. I haven't in years because I'm down with the cause.
Hell yeah.
So no one else can either. Don't go on vacation.
Yeah. Just drive around, guys. Drive. There's probably a cool place to hang out 45 minutes from where you are. Just drive.
Guy in crap. I forget. What's that little island in near England?
Ireland?
No, it's really small and it's a little English island, and it's dark and it's cold and it's gloomy, and it's got something. There's like a man in the name. The Man Islands. Is it the Man Islands?
I have no idea. I've never heard of the Man Islands.
Crap. Oh well.
Nope, that doesn't come up when you go. Isle of Man? Is that it?
Isle of Man. Yeah.
No shot. You got all the way to the Man Islands, but you didn't get Isle of Man. Oh,
guy on the Isle of Man listening. I can't drive anywhere.
Can't drive anywhere. Take a boat, bro. Come on. You're telling me you live on an island, you don't have a boat. Lock in. Walter Mitty. Jump off a helicopter into the chilly ocean, and a nice fisherman will give you a cool sweater. That's what
Nice.
I heard will happen. Oh, and then Scotty Barnes also wants to know, can you two discuss your favorite music at the moment per chance, or give your thoughts on the recent Apple Music Top 100 list? I have not looked at that list.
I didn't see that either. Maybe
we could run through it. I mean, you're on the Patreon. Maybe we'll take a look at it tomorrow. I don't know. But list right now, there was an Asian art festival going on the other day. Me and my girlfriend went to, and they were blasting Japanese city pop. And so I've been on a big Japanese city pop kick lately. I was just listening to, I think it's called Moody Blue Music by some Japanese city pop group. That was a very good song. It's on an album that is very good that I cannot remember the name of right now.
The latest song I added is a MKG song. Do you know that guy? He's like
Machine Gun Kelly?
No.
No, I don't know MKG. What's it about, or what's it like?
MK.GEE. He's like a singer guy, so you might like him. I don't know. You'll probably recognize it from TikTok.
All right, I can lock in with that.
I listened to the Billie Eilish album. I added 2 songs off of it. One of them sounds straight up like a Paramore After Laughter song. So if you liked that album, you'll like that song. And then the other had a cool beat. And then before that, it was I talked about before. I added a Bleach opening, and then some Japanese jazz.
Oh, nice.
And then so.
There's a new Cage the Elephant album called The Neon Pill that I will be listening to maybe later tonight. I haven't listened to them in a while, but their album Melophobia from like 2014, very, very good rock album. Not a lot of skips on there. And then I also, during my MRI, she was like, do you want anything on Pandora? And I was super pretentious. I asked for Chet Baker. He's like a jazz singer, trumpet guy, and it was super relaxing, except for the MRI noises. They're very loud.
But she was like, man, this guy's so cool. Yes, for Chet Baker.
Well, no, she wasn't like that because I asked, and then she paused just long enough for me to ask. I phrased it in a really douchey way on accident. I said, Chet Baker, do you know who that is?
I see.
And she goes, no, but I can type it in. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. So it was nice, and he rocks. I have one of his albums on CD. I think it's called Chet Baker Sings. It's called Let's Get Lost. I'm looking at it right now. Beautiful, beautiful album. If you're ever on like a nice chilly fall morning, leaves are falling outside your window, you're bundled up with a nice hot cup of coffee, throw on Let's Get Lost by Chet Baker. That's the go-to album for me. All right. Oh, look at that. A calm little 2 hours and 3 minutes for free for you motherfuckers. Do you have $5? Did you earn it? while you were listening to this. Maybe you're driving around delivering DoorDash. Maybe you're washing dishes at your restaurant.
Maybe you're
job.
at the Blockbuster. Guy recording from 2004.
Whoa, that's crazy, dude. Maybe someone
Well,
is.
$5 subscription would be crazy in 2004. That's your rent.
Yeah, we couldn't demand that. 2004. I mean, that's 100 eggs was $5 back in 2004. 30 gallons, a truck full of milk was $5 back in 2004. So, yeah. But if you got $5, patreon.com/state of the league, you can get another episode just like this tomorrow. I will cope so hard with the Denver Nuggets tomorrow. Literally, Christian Brown is the only player on the floor who wanted to win that game. And I'll expand more on that tomorrow, baby. Oh, my God. We got Jokic fraud watch coming up. Jamal Murray, was he ever good? KCP, are we bringing him back? A whole lot of shit like that coming up on the West episode tomorrow. And we'll have game 1 of Mavs Wolves. That works out really well. I didn't even think about that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Well, so see you guys tomorrow if you want, but we'll see you guys next week if you're a loser. Talk to you later.
Oh.
Bye.